A wave of unrest has swept across Nepal, sending shockwaves both within its borders and beyond. In early September 2025, the Nepalese government imposed an unprecedented ban on over 26 major social media platforms, including global giants like Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, and YouTube. This sweeping crackdown, justified by officials as a measure against misinformation, hate speech, and covert foreign interference, has ignited one of the largest youth-led protest movements in the country's history. The digital blackout, rather than stifling dissent, has instead served as a rallying cry for an entire generation now fighting for their right to be heard. In the capital city of Kathmandu, the atmosphere shifted rapidly from tense anticipation to outright chaos. Thousands of mostly Gen Z demonstrators flooded the streets, their faces lit by the glow of smartphones. Ironically, the very devices now rendered useless for their favorite platforms. They marched in unison, chanting slogans that echoed through the city. "Stop the ban on social media! Stop corruption, not social media!" The red and blue of Nepal's national flag waved above the crowds, a symbol of unity and defiance. Barricades of barbed wire lined the streets surrounding New Baneshwar's parliament building. Riot police, clad in heavy gear, braced themselves against the surging waves of protesters. What began as a peaceful demonstration quickly escalated as security forces deployed tear gas, rubber bullets, and water cannons in a desperate attempt to restore order. The confrontation spiraled out of control. At one point, police found themselves overwhelmed, forced to retreat and take refuge within the very halls of Parliament they were sworn to protect. The scale of violence was staggering. By nightfall, at least 19 people had lost their lives, and dozens more lay injured in hospitals across the city. The streets of Kathmandu bore the scars of the day's upheaval: shattered glass, smoldering debris, and the lingering haze of tear gas. But the unrest did not end with the day's violence. The political fallout was immediate and profound. Nepal's Home Minister, Ramesh Lekhak, resigned amid mounting public outrage and intense pressure from opposition leaders. In his resignation letter to Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, Lekhak cited moral grounds, acknowledging the government's failure to contain the crisis without bloodshed. The resignation sent a clear signal of accountability, yet it did little to quell the anger simmering on the streets. The political shockwaves rippled outward. In Damak, the hometown of Prime Minister Oli himself, protesters gathered outside his residence, pelting it with stones and chanting for change. Security forces responded with warning shots, and authorities quickly imposed curfews in high-risk zones, including Parliament, the Presidential Palace, and key government districts. The lockdowns extended to other major cities like Butwal, Pairahawa, Itahari, and Damak, underscoring the nationwide scope of the unrest. Beneath the turmoil lies a fundamental question: why did Nepal's government enact such a sweeping ban on social media in the first place? Officials pointed to a surge in online misinformation, the proliferation of hate speech, and growing concerns about foreign actors manipulating public discourse. In a rapidly digitizing society, these are not trivial threats. Yet, for Nepal's youth, digital natives who have grown up with the world at their fingertips, the ban felt like a direct assault on their freedom of expression, their ability to organize, and their right to participate in the global conversation. In a twist of irony, the very platforms the government sought to suppress had already served as powerful tools for activism. Just days before the blackout, protest organizers, including the group Hami Nepal, used social media to coordinate rally routes, share safety tips, and spread their message far and wide. The ban may have cut off these digital lifelines, but the momentum they generated persisted on the ground. The crisis has also taken on a regional dimension. Along the India-Nepal border, the Sashastra Seema Bal, SSB, India's border security force, has stepped up patrols, closely monitoring the situation as violence threatens to spill into sensitive frontier areas. With deep historical, cultural, and economic ties between the two nations, any prolonged instability in Nepal could have ripple effects on trade, tourism, and even cross-border migration. Local businesses and families on both sides of the border are watching anxiously, hoping for a swift resolution. Globally, Nepal's social media ban has sparked a heated debate about the limits of government control in the digital age. Can authorities truly silence dissent by cutting off access to social platforms? Or does such a move only amplify frustration, driving protesters into the streets with renewed determination? The United Nations and international watchdog groups have weighed in, urging Nepal to restore communication freedoms and uphold the fundamental right to free expression. Their statements underscore a broader concern. In an era where information flows freely across borders, attempts to impose digital blackouts are likely to face fierce resistance and may ultimately prove unsustainable. The story unfolding in Nepal is about far more than just a clash between police and protesters. It is a battle over the very nature of democracy and civil rights in the 21st century. For Generation Z, who have never known a world without social media, the platforms banned by the government are more than just sources of entertainment. They are vital tools for connection, education, and activism. The crackdown has galvanized a generation, transforming a policy dispute into a national movement demanding accountability, transparency, and respect for individual freedoms. As the dust settles, Nepal faces an uncertain path forward. The loss of life and the resignation of key political figures mark a turning point, but the underlying tensions remain unresolved. Will the government heed the calls of its young citizens and restore access to social media? Or will it double down on its efforts to control the digital sphere, risking further unrest and international condemnation? Around the world, the events in Nepal serve as a cautionary tale, a reminder that the struggle for digital rights is far from over. The voices of Nepal's youth, silenced online, have only grown louder in the streets. Their fight is one for the future, not just of their own country, but of democratic societies everywhere. As the world watches, one thing is clear. The battle for digital freedom in Nepal is not just a local crisis, it is a global challenge, and its outcome will resonate far beyond the borders of the Himalayan nation.